Now, moving on to our first story. As part of the ongoing efforts to expand road infrastructure in the country to ease congestion on some major routes, works on aspects of the Eastern Corridor roads will be completed before July 2023 deadline. The Eastern Regional Director of Highways briefed the media on a tour with the Minister for Roads and Highways, Kwesi Amoako-Attah.
It is linking the N2 to the N6. So what we are trying to do is to open up the road network in the country. You know, in the past, all the major traffic were going to the central spine. So you see Accra Kumasi was always choked. Somebody in Koforidua wanting to get to Ho will have to go necessarily on the N6. That is through either Bunsu Junction or connect it at Suhum and get back to Accra and continue. Now when you have opened up this road, those in the eastern part of Ghana will be able to link from here through all the way up to Bimbala and up north. So this is a very important link, and like it's been said in the past, the road was very narrow and winding, and what we call the vertical curves were very bad. So side distance was very bad. So technically what we are trying to do is to improve safety by opening up the road, improving what we call the horizontal and the vertical alignments. So you see in areas where we had curves, we have to necessarily blast to open up the place and make sure that you can see a bit far to prevent road accidents. So that is precisely what we are doing. Now the contractor, like it's been said, is General Construction. The contract duration is 30 months. It started from January 2021 and the expected completion date is 19th of July 2023. As we speak, the contractor cumulatively has done almost 64% of the work. By the time elapsed, it's about 54, which means that he's 10% ahead. In terms of actual work, he has finished all earthworks. He has done what we call the sub-base, almost 100% complete. What is outstanding is just getting close to the covered approaches. He has done almost 100% of concrete works. And then the base, the last layer that will receive the blacktop, he has done 18 kilometers, representing about 50% of the work. And you saw the stockpile of material at the site. He has pre-coated, waiting to start the black. So maybe at your next visit, you will see portions of the road in black. Basically, this is what we are doing. It is programmed to be completed in July 2023. But at this rate, we are sure that maybe before the year ends.
Okay, it only makes sense and it's only reasonable that you wait until it gets to your turn. Where we are now, this 25 kilometer of road, it started somewhere around January 2001, okay? Until January 2001, nothing was done here. Does it mean this road was not going to be constructed? Okay? If it's from Nkrakain to that, it's about 36.1 kilometers. Okay? So when it took off around January 2021, okay? Until that time, nothing was done on this road. Doesn't mean it was not going to be done, but when it got to Eastern, look at what is going on. The entire length is being worked on. The entire length is being worked on. So the message is that wherever we haven't got into, the people must exercise patience, and then it will get to their turn. Okay?
Away from that, now the youth of New Takoradi in Sekondi, Takoradi Metropolis in Western Region have declared a non-stop sanitation campaign to fight indiscriminate waste management in the fishing community. Now the action of the youth follows an open campaign waged by traditional rulers in the area and authorities operating various schools in the community to improve sanitation.
People should know that, or Ghanaians should know that plastics are equally invaluable. They are equally assets that we can sell rather than choking our drains with them and causing floods. So now people should know that when it comes to New Takoradi, very soon there is a center where you can gather your plastics and go and sell. So in doing so, people will even be going from house to house, picking people's plastics that they don't need to go and sell, weigh and sell, rather than we throwing them about in drains and then in all places that doesn't speak well of us. And at the end of the day, we keep blaming government for not doing what they have to do. We keep blaming our assembly members. Our communities are dirty, they are not doing it. Meanwhile, most parts of the waste, 70% of our waste is plastic, and this 70% is money. But rather, we pay to go and dispose of money. We pay to dispose of our waste instead of selling our waste. What makes us sell our waste is when we segregate them and put them into segments, we'll be able to sell the most parts. And at the end of the day, the little money we have out of that, we can use it to pay Zoom Lion and the likes for the collection of the 30% of the waste. And this in itself is something that I believe that as Ghanaians, when we embrace, will go a long way to help us. People will be having business jobs to do. Now the plastics that are lying on the floor, in the drains and all that, they are money. But nobody is seeing it as such to say, I'm going to pick them and go and sell. Sometimes it is because the means are not provided. So we have provided the means. We are connecting the communities to the plastic buyers.
Moving on now, the police in the Ashanti region have arrested a tailor's apprentice who allegedly killed a friend at Seria on Friday in an attempt to avoid payment of debt of 100 cedis. Now, 22-year-old Nana Kwekwedu Jemfi, a level 200 student of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, was found dead in a bush at Seria. Police inspection of the body revealed a swollen neck and blood oozing from the nostrils. A stick suspected to have been used to hit the disease was also found about 20 meters away from the body. Police later arrested his 25-year-old friend, Emmanuel Boateng, who has confessed to police that he owed the deceased 100 cedis. According to police accounts, on Friday, April 22, Nana Jemfi visited Emmanuel in his house at Isaso Kwablafo near Riso, and the two later went about deceased but did not return home until his body discovered dead in the bush. Emmanuel told the police he lured the deceased to the bushes and murdered him. He also stole an iPhone 11 Pro Max phone from the deceased, which has been retrieved by the police. The body of Nana Jemfi has been deposited at the Komfono Teaching Hospital morgue. Emmanuel Boateng, who is assisting police in the investigations, will be arraigned before court on Monday, April 25th. Away from that, now former President John Dramani Mahama has made some wild allegations against the Nana Akufo-Addo administration. According to Mahama, the Akufo-Addo-led government channeled the COVID-19 pandemic windfall of over 33 billion Ghana cedis meant to cushion the economy into its 2020 campaign activities. He made these comments at the 24th African Business Conference organized by the Harvard Business School. Now, speaking on how African countries can shake off the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, Mahama highlighted the adverse impact of the pandemic on the African continent. Narrowing down on his country, Ghana, the former president said the country's current leadership, unlike other countries, was not proactive enough to have in place measures to ease the plight of Ghanaians in the face of the pandemic.
Economies must have inbuilt resilience to wean us off dependency. The resilience must be rooted in the acquisition of the necessary know-how. Our education systems must emphasize modernity and have strong science, engineering, and mathematics components. Intra-African trade must be high on the agenda, and the work that had started with the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area must be seen to fruition to promote trade and commerce on the continent. Structural reforms leading to the diversification of our economies and production base and the attraction of investments into industry, agribusiness, the digital sector, and tourism must be accelerated. We must also push for self-reliance in key strategic commodities and supplies, for which we have a comparative advantage. And when I talk about this, I talk about rice, vegetable oil, and things. It's such a shame if you look at the quantities of these commodities that Africa imports when we have all the conditions to produce them ourselves. Tomatoes, onions, and just about every toothpicks, and just about everything. Africa must take greater control of the trade and processing of its natural resources like cocoa, gold, bauxite, oil, copper, etc., and build stronger capacity to respond to global energy shocks, which have impinged heavily on our economies as a result of the current Russia-Ukraine conflict. We need to be able to deal more effectively with such shocks in future to mitigate the suffering of our people during such times. And when I talk about getting greater control of trade and processing of our natural resources, I use my own country as an example, that after decades of cocoa production, still in excess of 60 to 70% of cocoa that we produce is exported as raw beans and processed in other countries. Windfalls from commodity exports in times of hikes should be channeled into the recovery effort and not squandered on mere consumption. One area that Africa has shown remarkable growth is the ICT sector and digital uptake. Before the pandemic, we were making major inroads in that area, and we're recording the fastest rate of new broadband connections, and mobile data traffic was projected to rise by 700% between 2017 and 2020.
Away from that, the executives of the NPP in Yendi constituency, led by the constituency chairman, have vowed to resist any attempt to use the album that was compiled by the MP for the area, Farouk Aliyu Mahama, to conduct elections in the constituency. Now, this was made at a known press conference in Yendi, the Dagbon traditional capital. Northern Regional Correspondent Dibaba has more in this report.
The MPP in the Yendi constituency has been in the news now for some time due to disagreement over the compilation of constituency album for the party. During the polling stations and the electoral area coordinators election of the party, Yendi produced two albums, one from the constituency executives and another from the camp of the Member of Parliament. At a press conference organized by the constituency executives of the party, a commitment was made to resist any attempt by anybody to conduct elections in the constituency if due process was not followed. They have called on leadership of the party and President of the Republic to ensure the suspension of the Yendi constituency elections until the issue of their register is fixed.
Those who say no to the album, we are 10. And those who follow MP and his first album is 6. One of us have resigned. So, majority, we are majority. Why are they denying majority? We have the right. So I am assuring you that on the day, if they don't change the album or if they did not suspend the election, we will go there with our album. Sure. That is what I want you to note. So we are, saying direct to our elders that the party leadership, national chairman, national secretary, and national council of elders chairman, that if nothing is done on the D-Day 28, we will all meet there with the two albums.
They added that if the MP's register is to be used for the elections, they will resist it even if it means losing their lives.
We have communicated the injustice being meted by the MP to the constituency enough through the petitions and letters of complaints. But the negative impact of the misconduct of the MP is not being addressed by the party conclusively. This is akin to the party's principles, especially now that the party is readying itself to break the age of which any constituency cannot be left out, since it is the heart of NPP.
On his part, Deputy Nasara coordinator of the constituency, Taminu Abdul Hamid, said leadership of the party should act now to fully address the negative behavior of the Yendi MP to ensure that Yendi constituency takes part in breaking the aid camp 2024. A petition was subsequently presented to the Yendi Municipal Chief Executive for onward presentation to the President and leadership of the MPP in Accra. Meanwhile, all efforts made to speak to the Member of Parliament of the area proved futile.
We're going for a quick commercial break. Do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now let's do more stories. Residents of Sorogo in the northern region are appealing for more educational infrastructure to make teaching and learning conducive for pupils. Now the plea comes after the MP for Sanarego constituency, ABA Fusaini, constructed and handed over a 3-unit classroom block to members of the Sorogo community.
For years been studying under trees. The school located in Sorogo, a community in the Sanarego municipality of the northern region, lacks basic infrastructure to make teaching and learning conducive. Responding to the pleas of the people of the area, Member of Parliament for Sanarego, Alhaji ABA Fusaini, constructed and handed over a 3-unit classroom block to the community. During the handing over ceremony, the MP promised to do more to improve teaching and learning in the constituency.
If you can get further support from the authorities, I don't know what to do when you get a foul. So it is clear that by the grace of Almighty Allah, His Excellency President Mahama, when he comes, the NDC is known for its track record of development. So there's no doubt that if we can do this in opposition, in government, you can imagine what's coming. So there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the sky is the limit when we come back. I'm not saying if not, but when we come back to power, in 2025, January 7th, with His Excellency President Dramani Mahama as the President of this government.
The school is the fourth to be commissioned by the MP since 2016.
It is a 3-classroom block built under my auspices as Member of Parliament for the good people of the Sorogo community. It's taken us quite about years or few months to do it, and I'm sure you can recognize that being in opposition. In fact, in opposition, this is my 4th school we have inaugurated since we went to opposition.
On his part, Deputy Municipal Director of Education in Sanarego, Abubakar Ayamba, thanked the Member of Parliament for the project and called on teachers and community leaders to maintain the facility.
As you are aware, teaching and learning can only be effective if there is an infrastructure. And the infrastructure that he has provided is something that will improve teaching and learning. I therefore stand here on behalf of the Sanarego Education Directorate to express our profound gratitude to the Honorable.
Away from that, now 2 separate accidents on the Kassel-Winneba highway have left scores of passengers injured. In all, about 46 persons have been affected with various degree of injuries, with 20 persons severely injured.
The Winneba Trauma and Specialist Hospital is where all the 46 victims of the accident are currently receiving treatment following the accidents on Sunday. The first accident occurred at Gomwampota on the Winneba-Kaswa stretch, whilst the second happened at Gomwa-Mankesim. Police say 3 vehicles were involved in the first accident. A 207 bus registered AS5106Y, a Kia Rhino truck with registration number GX128416, and DAF trailer truck with registration details BA1698X. In an interview, the Winneba Municipal Fire Service Commander, DO3 Kwesi Hughes, revealed that the Kia Rhino tried to overtake the 207 bus but crashed its rear and subsequently collided with the trailer truck from the Kaswa direction.
Na sprinter no die animu na Kia Rhino no di akire.
The Sprinter bus was ahead of the Kia Rhino whilst the DAF trailer truck was coming from Accra. So, The two cars were heading towards Accra. All of a sudden, the Kia Rhino overtook the Sprinter bus and ended up colliding with a DAF trailer truck. Upon reaching there, my men noticed that 8 passengers were trapped in the car, 2 girls and 6 boys. It took firefighters much effort to rescue them from the mangled vehicle for onward transportation to the hospital.
On the second accident, an eyewitness account that a Cape Coast Accra-bound Sprinter bus registered GN 257210 burst one of its tires, leading to a somersault. On that accident, the Municipal Fire Officer for Winneba, DO3 Kwesi Hughes, attributed the cause to overloading. He said 36 persons, including the driver, were on board instead of the required 23 passengers. He said foodstuffs had also been loaded on the vehicle.
Away from that, now the Ghana Police Service have commenced investigations into an accident involving a fire tender on its way to quench a fire at Ankafufie in the Central Region. According to sources, the accident was caused by a Hyundai Elantra with registration number CR41419 who crossed the fire tender at a 4-way intersection near Abora in Cape Coast. The personnel and the injured victims were rushed to Cape Coast Teaching Hospital for treatment. Now, residents in the Tampani district of the Upper East region have expressed worry over the ongoing construction works on the Bugri to Pusiga Road. Now, according to them, the contractor working on the Bugri-Pusiga bridge has suddenly abandoned the project. Francis Dagban has details in the following report.
The road users describe the Bugri-Pusiga Bridge as a death trap, adding the situation is dire during downpours. According to them, the bridge was inaccessible during the rainy season last year, cutting off several communities in the area. The entire 6-kilometer stretch has also been abandoned since the contract was awarded in 2019, a phenomenon motorists and other road users say could gravely affect the transportation business in a peak of downpours this year. Mohammed Hamidu laments the stalled road project in the district, especially the 20-kilometer Bugri Corner Basyonde Road, Timpani Gabiri, Zambala Road, and the Bugri Pusiga Road are having a toll on the economic activities in the area.
When we are going to Pusiga, we have to pass through Buku so that we can reach, or we pass through Bashone, we pass to Vidana. So it will make our work difficult, and then it gets spoiling our work.
Meanwhile, the district chief executive of Timpani, Isaka Anabida, earlier expressed his dissatisfaction over the abandoning of the road project.
The government under the presidency of His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo has awarded the Y. Johnson Timpani to Warianga Road, which is ongoing. But after the election, it's difficult for us to get the contractor back to site. We have the Zambala Gom Kolburi Road. That contractor has promised that he's paid and he will be back on site next 2 weeks.
Meanwhile, several attempts by our correspondent to ascertain the rationale behind the snail-pace construction of the Bugri-Pusiga Bridge by the contractor have proven futile.
Away from that, now southern Ghana earlier yesterday experienced heavy rainfalls and strong winds. And in an interview with the head of Central Analysis and Forecasting at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Felicity Ahanya-Fianyo, has hinted the state of the sea is expected to be rough on Monday, urging residents within the southern belt to take precaution due to the possibility of more rains.
By dawn hours to 7 a.m. We are anticipating mist and fog patches, which is likely to reduce visibility. Areas of concern is those that will be traveling to Ebri, those that will be going to Koforidua, Kumasi, Sunyani, Techinman, Ijura. Those that will be going to Mankasim in the central western region, they will have poorer visibilities at the early hours of the day. So the motorists that may be using this road at dawn hours should do so with caution. They should watch their speed limit, and if you know you cannot see that much, especially when you are in a fog which is a bit thick, which is going to be less than 1,000 meters, they should reduce their speed. Look a bit stable over the entire country. It's going to be partly cloudy with the sun smiling on us. Then we have localized rain cloud formations that will form over the middle part of Volta region, part of Eastern Ashanti, then later the northern portions of the Greater Accra Central and part of the Western region. And that's going to be from afternoon to the evening hours. It's not going to be intense, but then just some pockets over here and there. Right. That's what will happen. But then temperatures for the morning hours will reduce to 26 over the northern portions, 22, 24 for the middle sector. Along the coast, temperatures will be a bit comfortable because of the rain that we had. Some areas will have 23 degrees Celsius. It's going to go up to 37, 40 over the north, the middle sector 34, 37, and then the coastal strip Greater Accra is likely to record around 33, 34.
We take another breather. There's more after this. Well, that's all for the morning news at 6. We came to you live from the Kuya Boima studio, and my name is Harriet Adi. Do enjoy the rest of our programs and have a good morning.